Send these out here, and see what sticks.
Yeah, no, I was pretty surprised about that security company though, because the fact that they right after that. I mentioned it 45 business, and I went ahead and interviewed them in an article. Yeah, so now they have an article this time. I was pretty surprised about it. And then even more than I was just perusing their website, and I was like, hey. and it was like posted like the day before. And so I hit him up, and I was like, dude, did you see they made an article on you? He's like, really? Yeah, and he didn't even know either. So, yeah, I sent him a link to it, and he was super excited.
What's the site? 45?
You know, 45 business.
Oh, 45. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
Next week.
Oh, they're
remodeling.
Yeah. I knew they were doing it. Josh told me, I just didn't know when.
Are you with
pretty awesome. Are they getting like a big space, or are they just?
They're fairly.
Yeah.
Kind of split up, but yeah,
yeah, I know that they're trying to make a new push here too. I think that it's well overdue. That magazine is really one of the
senior managers for
magazines that I know that's coming out of this area. Yeah, like, an actual like good material, like a good meeting. It's very localized, but at the same time, it does have a couple articles that go a little bit more globally. But really, their stuff is pretty quality. Their online presence isn't as big as some, but I think that it still has a lot of potential just due to the fact that it's printed. Printed is just a totally different aspect. Most people don't take it into account because it's pretty cool. It's in your hand. You buy an article, you put it on the coffee table, it's not going to just
right.
You know where it's going to be. I saw you guys here before. You guys had some. I saw them in their offices.
Really?
Yeah. You guys got one in my desk. So
Google Docs.
Yeah, but see, that's another good aspect. That those offices, they always have a magazine out there, so there's no reason you shouldn't have stress that in this area. That's more localized. Them doing more of that.
I was just asking
do more just in the startup space in general.
Right, and they're going to be able to be at
for mobile as well.
Oh yeah, especially being down. I'm excited for it.
But they don't have it.
This is so
Rich, hopefully, and
they are developing
more venture capital.
Some.
There should be some places where the developer needs to set up something we call on the street and is demo. But I wouldn't imagine how to major.
Right, no, I'm great.
That's for that's awesome.
Yeah,
experiences.
But oh good, I'm really good to think so. Because that's kind of what our job is.
Great. Interesting watch over the next year whether or not.
So you really have office? Do you have a particular product here?
Yeah, that's a big aspect that I've been wondering about that too.
Oh, okay, that's your thing.
Yeah, I've definitely been wondering about that myself.
I know there was a big great one. When I was there, you changed offices like that.
Oh yeah, makes sense. Yeah, there's a lot of different opportunities out there, but I'm having trouble right now. In fact, talking actually with one of my advisors about that, the difference in the venture capitalist environment here, or just in the U.S. versus other countries. It's pretty crazy to see how there's such a big divide. Like he was talking about China, and then the type of investing there, and how with them it's pretty much just along the lines of you have a great like good numbers, get good presentation, get this, that, everything. This is more based off the fact of you have a good idea, but you also have everything else with the presentation, the numbers, the amount of customer projections over time, and some countries like China is pretty much just like, well, here's money, it's a good idea. Yeah. So I've been trying to figure out how to vector this stuff because we're going to be going for our investment soon. Once we get all our ducks in line, which is very soon. Actually, we have but big thing. Yeah.
And so that's where I think basically have this cheaper overlap so that there are many things that startups do.
But to do that, you need to have
So very
if you took this down to the shelf, store, this would probably be like
I'm sure that you find
and I know the people in the curriculum chamber are pretty awesome. They say they already collaborate with a little bit, but being able to do cross-city events is, I think, will be the next big thing once we find a centralized location that's huge. It's a location that's like can fit 1,200 people, 1,300, and be able to do all-inclusive event where all the city chambers are on board. I think that would spark.
Maybe at some point actually having one each of the chambers at least once a week have office hours.
Yeah.
That they hold up.
A couple of my clients have been told, I know some of these days they do animation, and that's what it's helpful. But I would reach out to people on LinkedIn. If I find a CEO, if it's a startup or just a mature company, if it's an interesting item, or I think that could be a challenge, I'll just say, hey,
Macs aren't compatible with just because it uses like that one screen uses
for free
a whole server just to operate. Because there's so many split screens that those are actually each individual screens. So Macs is just kind of like wrap out
Yeah. So if they gauge redesign something, renegotiate. Some consultants will actually go in and try to determine if they've saved you any money, and then they'll take a percent of that savings. And I don't do that. I don't think it's. I don't. Well, here's an example. I almost wish I would have. That's a lot of money. Another consultant will say, "I'll tell you what, I'll take half of whatever you save." So you're not saving anything now. I said you'll take half. And then they make $55,000. So get to determine well, not really. I mean, because just because they were in a situation where they were being overcharged, now if I did something that really chances are I knew that and say, hey, this is big stuff. But I just assumed that we were working for them. No, go get a ticket. Yeah, no, it's fine. Go pick it. back to how I'm engaged. Yeah, and I think
really appreciate that. I came to 95.
It's like they'll
Shot that time frame. I was big in Val.
he wants me to
And
recognize.
then I'm big in all the Microsoft.
So if I understand correctly, you don't take a share, so if you purchase business, I don't get it back. So they want to give me a kickback.
All going on.
So if I did business today, they'll give me $500. And then the company would do that. Lower the rate. Because I can't be agnostic. I want to do the best for the client. Once I start taking just money from
So one of our target groups that we're looking at,
to me, it's just not up. It's not up. And that's just me. I sleep better at night. And he goes, okay, we can get all the clients who are no, I want to bring clients to you. You are the absolute best deal. Oh, okay.
So that's one of the things we're kind of that's something that we're going to do.
Well, what cameras do you work with?
Get out of Microsoft. I want to do my own thing. More collaborating with Microsoft. Someone has this enough tools.
Yeah, that's the way I want to keep down 40. Start building.
Why?
17, 18, 17. Well, that is where I'm with those some guys, what's that?
I want to
that's just getting out. I'm not good at it. I used to out for
where are people going to find what that's
She's barely getting out. But she works at home too.
That, Brian, nice to meet you.
They burn in. Right now, lifespan for you. They get young people with and then you go away and quit. And they got the best idea and they move on to the next. Now they actually value the balance. Yeah. Are you losing lots of people to Facebook, Amazon, Starbucks, Amazon, or people? A lot of people
The next thing
Yeah, everywhere but right there.
Right there. Right. Like,
I think it's just
Well, millennials, they're resilient, so they'll bounce off this.
What are we talking about here?
Oh, Microsoft, work-life balance, consulting.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
You talked to me here in the space. You said, "Hey, I'd love to, I have some material that I can do, like teaching or something like that." Or an intro.
And when was I going to do that? Was that here?
Yeah. Because if you have what I'm working out right now is Gabriel over here. His company is developing an app for the stock like market. He's going to do talk about who's got going on. Like we have a conference, and then investors. And I'd love to have these three key cornerstones come up here and do an introduction.
No, I'd love to. Yeah, I'll put together a slide with some.
Well, I mean, even just to come up and introduce together.
Okay. When do you want to do that? Next time or tonight? No, tonight. Oh, okay, yeah. I'll tell you.
There's 2 minutes and just kind of introduce yourself. What you're seeing out there is and then come up and introduce yourself. Before I even start, and I'll start with so that you might be able to see, oh, hey, company that's doing this, and then you come in and say, hey, I'm the guy who does this to make sure that this is all working properly, so that when we decide, when he comes in and says, I want to invest in due diligence, he does investors. So, that's how we roll it out like that. And then we'll go into our headliners.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
is that serious thing?
Yeah.
No way something would take it.
That's exactly what people do. Or just like portable. Portable. HDD. Everyone wants to be on that. We are going to be Azure Data our down and we're going to be growing
So I mean, it's one of where software is 100%.
I got you.
So we have quite extensive SQL Server database, and we realized that we could not afford to do it. So we get millions of visitors a month, and the SQL position, how much we were willing to spend on it, and they didn't get value from it either. It's one of these things where so it was 100% small because of the technology. You can always overcome it with smarter applications. It was one of them where I started resources. Never need to change
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another meetup. Start of Building at Microsoft Store in Bellevue Square Mall. I'm very excited to have you all here. This is a great opportunity for us to learn a lot about this entrepreneurial ecosystem. We have some special opportunities here for us to learn a lot of it, those of us who are students of the ecosystem. We're going to be bringing in some special guests along with the headliner who's going to give us some information about his company, Payboard. And what we're going to start off with first, as we do often, we like to get to know some of our newcomers and some of the people who are students of this ecosystem. We're going to do just a little bit of a meet and greet. So I'm going to give you an opportunity, anybody who wants to come up here and exercise your voice for 60 seconds. introduce yourself. Tell us what it is that you do, whether you're part of a company, whether you are starting a company, and whether there are issues that you're trying to resolve. So it's basically your 60-second elevator pitch or a sort of introduction to who you are, even if you're just a student of this. Then after we do that, we're going to go and open up with a business that is going to talk about app development in a particular field that they're trying to solve issues. And from there, we're going to have a 2-minute little bit of an introduction to our due diligence person, Mark Swanson, over here, who will talk about what it takes to find the business, go through the due diligence, and make sure that everything is up to snuff to be able to bring it across to investors. And then we'll close out that mid-section there with an investor from the ANGEL conference, Seattle Angel Conference, who will also talk about what it is that he does using these due diligence individuals to be able to that they feel that the risk is mitigated enough for them to invest their monies into it. So we have a really great program for tonight. And then after that, we're going to have our featured guest here, Matt Dyor, Matt Dyor, founder of Payboard. So I thank you very much. Let's see if we can get anybody to volunteer just for a quick introduction. Who are you and what is it that you're looking to do in this ecosystem? 60 seconds. Come on up.
How's it going? My name is Sid, co-founder of Startup Bellevue. I really love the Eastside ecosystem, and I just wanted to say that I feel like it's an honor to have a group participate and be able to share their ideas and process going so we can get this community unified and get our products out there.
Thanks a lot, Sid. Thank you. Who else wants to introduce themselves? Can I volunteer you? Yes.
Hello, my name is Luis. I'm originally from Mexico City and I work for Microsoft at the moment. But I like to learn about the startup communities. Like, you know, we all daydream of having a like super millionaire startup idea, like driving it to success. So that's why I'm here for, to learn from you and about like everything we're working on.
Thank you for having me. All right. Thanks, Luis. Does anybody else want to introduce themselves? Yes, please. Step on through.
Hi, my name is Brian. I also work at Microsoft right now on the big data team. But I'm looking around at some other ideas. So I've got 2 ideas I'm kind of toying with right now from startup companies. One in the solar space and the other in energy load management. Here in China, what do you have to say? Thanks.
All right.
Let's go ahead and roll into the beginning of the program here. We're going to have Gabriel come up here and talk to us a little bit about what he is developing in software.
Yes. I'm actually developing a couple things that are kind of. How's this good? Okay, cool. So I'm actually developing a couple things. One is a finance app for people who they have no interest in learning all of the technical nomenclature of the finance world, but the demographic we're looking into is people who work at Microsoft, they work at Amazon, they're making a decent salary, and they have stock anyway, because you get Microsoft stock, or you get ESPP and stock plans, where you end up with just a ton of Microsoft stock, and you're not really diversified. Maybe I want to buy some Apple, maybe I want to buy some Facebook, but you have no clue as to how you can do that. There are all these barriers to entry, like setting brokerage accounts, or doing all this other stuff. So basically what this app does is it helps people get into that space by removing those barriers, or at least mitigating them. And then another thing that I do that's symbiotic to that is I work with a lot of small businesses and startups as a financial advisor, where we help people who, if you're just starting out, let's say you have entrepreneurship in a company, well, you might want to get a buy-sell account set up so that as your company grows, if one of you dies or something happens, instead of now you're in business with their in-laws, well, now you actually outright buy their half the company and there. So we do a lot of stuff, with businesses in that perspective as well. So that kind of relationship between that app and as a profession, kind of very symbiotic. So yeah, thanks guys.
All right.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. So this is business development here, and when we go into the next, when you are looking at potential of being able to sell the idea of your company to some investors, you want to get somebody to come in who does due diligence, make sure that the house is clean before it gets over to the investors. I'd like to introduce Mark Swanson, who stopped in a couple of weeks ago, and I learned a little bit about what he does as far as due diligence for operations on businesses. Thank you, Mark.
Hi. I have an odd occupation. It's not usually something that we see in our startups. Help with the operations side of things. So if you get your brilliant idea, investors say, wow, you're passionate, is this going to sell it to the legs? And they give you some angel money to get going. And then, uh-oh, you get orders. How are you going to actually ship? So this is more consumer product goods type things. So what do you do when you're an entrepreneur, you're passionate about marketing and finance and taking care of? How do you ship stuff? How do you get the best deals with the carriers? How do you get the packaging? Should you do it yourself? Should you go to a third-party logistics wait for someone else to fulfill it? And what happens to make yourself unfocused? So like in 1 year you talked about, I've seen companies almost crash and burn under their own weight. So it's helped them position themselves so they can handle it. So for a brand new startup that doesn't have the next round of financing, you have your operations in order, you have an infrastructure plan, you know how you're going to scale. Because that's what they're going to want to do, they want you to scale. They don't know how. That's the operations side.
Thank you so much, Mark. So the puzzle there. And now what we need to do is we need to get over to the investor who is looking for that due diligence to be done so that they can avoid the risk of getting into the investment world. Here's Assad Irshad.
So I'm Assad Irshad. I play multiple roles. So my daytime job is in Microsoft. I got used to angel investing with Seattle Angel Conference. And so I'm an angel investor with Seattle Angel Conference. I'm also the fund manager, assistant fund manager. In a nutshell, brings in new angel investors who want to learn about angel investing, and also bring in new startups, the early stage seed startups who want to get exposure to their pitches and due diligence and more. So from an investor side point of view, we have a playbook that essentially we ask the investors to read the David Rose's angel investing book, and we ask them to apply those learnings through the conference. So essentially driving due diligence and also connecting with the startup. For startups, we bring in for early stage, as I mentioned, trying to raise money, but they're early and could use some help with their pitches. So there's a platform to validate and also make sure that they have due diligence readiness and some of the work that we do. And at the same time have an opportunity to win up to anywhere from $150,000 to $250,000, depending upon the investment. The feedback that I've seen so far from both investors is more of an educational aspect. So if you're thinking about becoming an angel investor, or if you're at the stage that you want to get exposure to your pitch readiness or due diligence readiness, raising some funding, talk to me. Matt is up next. I'd like to introduce him. He and his company was part of the last Seattle Angel Conference, SAC 7. He was one of our finalists. And it's one of those things where you're making these companies and people who actually make it the finalists, they're actually very strong companies. Angels is really a hard job to go select one company as a winner. But with that, let's come and let's hear Matt talk about Payboard.
All right, if you can't hear me, I know it's pretty tricky with all the background noise. Please raise your hand or make the universal signs, put it over your ear. Well, my name is Matt Dyor. I'm the founder of Payboard. I did just complete and didn't win the Seattle Angel Conference, but nonetheless, experience. It really helped us look at the business we're building and the business we should be building, what you're going to hear tonight is kind of a byproduct of that experience. So 100% recommend, grab a card. Where's your cards? Cards are over there. If you're interested in it, get involved either as a startup or as an angel. Actually, we've done at Microsoft, when I was there for 5 years, is become an angel investor first. So you might not think of yourself as an angel investor. You possibly are. Look at the rules, talk to some smart people, but look at that avenue. It's so much easier to jump on somebody else's successful startup as an investor, learn the ropes that way than it is to slog through the from the dirt and the ashes and build your own. But enough about the Seattle Angel Conference. Let's talk about the content growth stack. It's something I'm really passionate about. I love websites. I've been playing with them forever. Some people think the web is dead and it's all mobile, mobile apps. I say heck with them. All the money is on the web right now. If you're building a startup, I think you have to pay attention to this. Are building a startup right now. About half. So if you are, I think there's two things that startups really do. They build a great product with their customers' lives, right? The second half is what most of us, let's do another show of hands. How many people are actually developer type, product type people? Out of that group. Is there anybody that's a marketing person that's building a startup? All right. So for you guys can go to sleep now, but for everyone who's product focused, if you don't focus on building that marketing engine just at the very onset, figuring out how you get customers, your product will likely fail. Your startup will likely fail. So this is something that I've largely learned through the School of Hard Knocks, and hopefully there's a clicker here. I'll walk you through this. So the first way, why as startups do we need to care about content? Anybody have any ideas why? Okay, certainly part of the short attention span, but why do we need to focus on content as opposed to advertising? Hiring a really nice PR firm. Because we're broke. We haven't won the Seattle Angel Conference, right? We don't have the opportunity to go buy a ton of ads. We don't have the cash to hire a top-tier PR firm. They're very expensive. The only thing you've got is content. It is still really tough, but at least you can afford it, you can get good at it, you can do it yourself. All right, so the content growth stack is really a couple of things. First, it is the way that you connect your content marketing efforts with your business objectives. I spent a lot of time writing random blog posts and tweeting out, I don't know, I think I have thousands of tweets now. And most of that doesn't create business value, right? Because I didn't have a systematic way. How am I going to use this content to eventually drive business value? If you don't think about that from the onset, it's not going to happen by accident. So what it really is a framework. It's the tools and processes you need to use content, analytics, and experimentation to build a marketing engine for your startup. So here's a picture of it. Actually, this is such a big screen, you can see it. That is a testament to this forum. But what I've done here is it's kind of visually laid out. I've provided one tool for each of these blocks, but for each of these blocks, there's probably 50 replacements, maybe more, especially in the analytics space. There's probably 4 million different variants there. But what I did is I provided one example that you can use. Feel free to swap them out as you want. Talk through each of these blocks real quickly, and then the process of how you stand it up. If you have any questions during this presentation, feel free to raise your hand. If you have any ideas, somebody said they were a student of the startup ecosystem. That's what I feel like. I started Eastside Incubator, I don't know, 5 years ago, just because I wanted to learn about startups, right? I didn't know anything about the extent of it, but I still feel like I'm learning every day. So if you have something to share, I might even steal it and call it my own. Sorry. But the first part of the content growth stack is really content. So can people give me some ideas of what content is today? When you hear content marketing, what is it? Okay, that's a very specific type. I'm thinking a little bit more general. Like if you're going to go create some content, what are you going to do? Videos. There's got to be more. We're not just going to all create videos. Infographics, another huge one. My favorite is I don't have any talent with infographics. Videos I actually can do, as long as your standards are low. But decks, right? This is content, right? You put it up on some website, share it out. You've got more content than social posts. Twitter is a fabulous place for content. It only requires 140 characters of creativity. All right, so analytics. Analytics is the foundation, right? The content is the fuel for the content growth stack. Analytics is the foundation. This is how you measure the progress. Google uses Google Analytics here. Someday there'll be Bing Analytics, and we'll be able to have parity there. But right, analytics is pretty much the most common analytics framework. The thing I always get amazed by Google Analytics is how little I understand, how little value I get out of Google Analytics. So what I'm going to try and do is distill, I don't know, thousands of hours of suffering in Google Analytics to a couple of things that I think you should do. And the first is a conversion event or a goal, right? Like this is something that by default most people don't have in Google Analytics, which means anything other than measuring how many people came into their store, right? They're not finding out how many people went to the cash register and bought something or how they bought it. They're just measuring how many people came to the store. So the other thing is to have a growth objective. So you might say we want to track sales, but you also need, today is August 6th. In 3 months' time, double the number of monthly sales that we have, right? And that's something that you need to do because what ends up happening is that you say, I'm constantly improving, this is great, but you're improving not fast enough, or you can realize that you're just kind of digging a hole that will never result in a good business. So you have goals and then measure them in your analytics system to make sure that you're making progress. All right, the fun stuff though is really this part in the middle here. Traffic generation and website optimization, those two big blocks. That is amazing. You do like 5 degrees different on the microphone. It's way So on the left side there is all about how do you get people to your website. And I really do like the analogy. Maybe this is the perfect forum for this time. Getting people to your website is like getting people into your store. You don't make any money by it, but if you don't have anybody in your store, you're probably not going to be able to sell them anything either. Right? So the stuff on the left, how do you get people into your store? Stuff on the right is how do you make them buy? Tap down to search engine optimization. If you're not getting most of your traffic from Google, and this is one where it's not Bing, it's not Yahoo, it's not Baidu, for at least any customer that I work with, it's entirely from Google. So if you focus on what content you're ranking for, what keywords you're ranking for in Google, and make sure that you've got some SEO efforts directed at improving those converting keywords, that's going to be the #1 way you're going to improve the traffic coming to your site. Now, social is another really important thing where there's probably as many different social networks as there are analytics stats. The important thing for you is to figure out which networks help your business grow. Because if you just post on Twitter and share on Instagram and Facebook, you do a bunch of social activity, but you aren't measuring the impact of those activities, you're basically just wasting time. And by and large, most people have their traffic, their key traffic coming from 3 different sites: Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. You'll know, so if you just start with testing on one of those 3, I actually think Twitter is the easiest one to get started with. If you have a business, you can tweet it out right now. What is it? At Startup Bellevue? What's the at Startup Bellevue? All right, so tweet it. Go promote each other.
I will. I'll tweet it.
All right. Retweet that one. But it is one where you can actually test really easily, what kind of tone works, what gets engagements, and gets people into your website. And then as far as the website optimization, who here uses Optimizely? Okay, write that down. If you have like phone, go send yourself a note to go check out the product of all time. Any optimization will use it or another website called Visual Website Optimizer. But what it lets you do is it lets you transform your website. Say, I'm going to show half my people one variation, half a different perspective, and see which one works. So you imagine that you come into a store like this, they have the really expensive stuff up front, and half the people when they come in, they have the really expensive stuff in the back. to do in the real world. With a website, you can do that and really experiment with what's going to drive more people to want to buy your product. It's just awesome. And then you can be a little scientist, conduct experiments. And then the thing that I actually work a lot on with Payboard is path optimization. And that's how you get people from where they started, whether that's Twitter or Facebook, Google, to what page you should send them to. Should you send them to the Contact Us page or the About Us page? But I would, unfortunately, if I was going to pick one of these two to start with, figure out page optimization. It's a lot easier to actually see, like, whatever. It's just really fun to use the technology. All right, so here's kind of the building blocks. So we're going to talk about how to put it into work next. But before we go on, I just want to make sure, are there any questions that you have? Technologies that you think or want a clearer picture of, or any other questions we have before jumping forward? Yes?
What are the current page optimization that is not part of?
Well, so if you think of if you had a single page website, they would be the same, right? Because somebody comes into your one page and they look around and then they either buy or leave. Most of the companies we work with have hundreds, sometimes thousands of web pages. And as you practice this and you're writing content all the time, you're going to end up with some really awesome converting content and some really bad content, right? That's your job, is to create a ton of content. You don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work. So in order to guide people to that high conversion on what page they came from, on what refer they came from. So they're different, they're related. Like the page is, kind of a singular instance, and the path is more of a website-wide optimization. One thing I didn't talk about that I think is worthwhile, time shift here myself, is worthwhile talking about is I call this layer the experimentation. The reason why I switched it is because, one, optimization sounds like very serious, and my customer doesn't want, they're like business owners, they're not nerds. But even more, optimization is like, I already got it figured out, right? I'm going to tune something up, I'm going to tighten this belt a little, put a little grease on that here. Everything's working pretty well, I just want to perfect it. Most of us aren't in that space. We need to figure out what the heck we're doing. We need to make serious mistakes as we figure, we try and change what the value prop is, who the ideal customer is. So this is really a learning layer in here. We're not trying to say we've got it figured out. Now it's time to execute, right? That's why we don't do business plans anymore. We're trying to say, I think I've got some ideas around who my ideal customer is, what keywords I want to dominate, how my web page should be laid out. But if I'm wrong, I'm excited to learn that as fast as I need to improve my business. All right, so thank you for the question. And are there any more? Let's jump right into it. There's nothing that excites people like an 8-point process diagram. But I think this is hopefully kind of fun. When you think about it, I will share this as long as it can get redistributed. So if you don't capture anything, you'll get this deck. And even more, if you want to ask me any questions, I'm always in the mood for talking about this. So the first thing, this is amazing, you can almost read this little guy. I didn't think that was going to be possible, but you can see my high-tech drawing. Is developer persona. And this is, again, where most technology people get it horribly wrong. Because it's like, heck with it, I'm going to build a perfect product, and then the customer will figure it out and fall in love with my product. They will learn to love my product. And that's really not at all the way it happens. What you need to do is you'll map out this thing. This is from a buddy of mine named Dyor. He has this flow for, you start out, you get this person, you give him a name of Joe, you give a context. So he's sitting at a desk, his phone's ringing, and there's like disheveled papers all over the place. There's no laptop in sight. But you actually think about who is this person, then you talk about the characteristics. 40 years old, average technical, meaning they're not a nerd, business owner. You talk about the behaviors, what they do. And your goal really is to figure out what is their need. I'll tell you the most dangerous thing you can do is build a startup around a goal, right? If it's an aspiration for this guy, he's never going to get to it. Almost impossible to get somebody to, at the earliest stage, commit to a goal. If you find a need where the person's bleeding or suffering, a half-baked solution comes in and fixes that problem, sort of for them, that is something that, so really focus on making sure that this is a need, something that he or she needs to get done. And this is one where, again, you'll iterate. You'll start with who you think is the persona. You'll find out it's not a 40-year-old. It's, you know, maybe the age doesn't even matter. But keep iterating on this until you can say, you know, I actually had a buddy of mine from early on. He said, you need to stop building and just go figure out who your customer is. You should be able to walk into a conference and point him or her out. It's like, that's a customer, that's not a customer. He's like, once you know that, and you know, maybe that's superficial or whatever, but I think his sense was you should really be in tune with what your customers' needs are, where you find them, what they look like, what they need, and until you get that, keep focusing on one. So we'll now blaze through some of these other ones. Developing keywords is SEO 101, but really you want to get your keywords are, and probably the biggest mistake I made personally, like, I'm not sure if you saw on the first one, it's called Payboard conversion automation. Who here has ever searched for conversion automation in their life? Man, was that a dumb thing to try and optimize for, right? So I need to update that slide. You did, all right, we got one, thank you. I think that was a gift. No, the reality is we think about like, hey, I'm building a future, right? I got to come up with these new terms that explain what I'm doing. That may be true, but when it comes what needs you to address, you need to connect them to problems of today. You need to talk to that prospective customer in a conversation that's already going on in their head, right? So it's not about, if I tell somebody I've got conversion automation, 50% off, people are going to be like, I didn't need it before, 100% off, I wouldn't buy it. But when you say something like, we'll help you grow your business, right? That is something you have to get a little bit, so you don't sound too big, but talk about the problems that they've got going on in their head. There's 3 awesome tools that I love for this. Keep saying Google. Someday we'll have like Microsoft competitors for this, but they do have some awesome and Google Search Console. Each one of them serves kind of a different purpose, but I mean, one of the things you'll see is like conversion optimization is something where it's like, hey, that's pretty cool, I like that term. And then you see the website optimization is twice as frequently searched. Maybe that's something I should be targeting. Google Keyword Tool is going to give you an understanding of competitiveness, like how people are trying to compete for that word on the ad side, which is usually an indication of how hard it's going to be on the content side too. And Google Search Console is finally how you see right? The fact that there's this awesome keyword out there that everybody wants to learn about, but your website doesn't rank for it, well, maybe you can do some optimization, but maybe there's just other people who are better at content generation than you, and you have to find some different keywords. So those 3 tools together will let you figure out what keywords you want to dominate. And they're all free, by the way. So there's other tools out there, Moz, Raven tools, there's a million other tools, but those 3 are free, and they do the job. Okay, content strategy. Does any of the startups, they have a content strategy that's actually written down? I've been shocked, right? Rough draft? Okay, cool. I mean, I would almost say, don't call it rough draft, just call it finished, and then keep changing it. But I think the most important thing is that it's actionable, right? So having the perfect plan that's never executed isn't actually that helpful. Most people don't have a content strategy. This is why it's like actually great if you can afford it to hire an agency to do this for you, because it's like, oh good, now I can boss somebody else around and make them do it. The way you can boss yourself around is who here is driven 100% by their calendar. Like their calendar tells them to do something and they're like, I do not know what to, like I will just be instantly snapped into gear by my calendar telling me to do something. So I'll actually program in what content I'm going to write and when. Because then I get to go into execution mode when that time comes. And instead of having to be creative and think about, like, okay, well, what am I going to write about? And there's 15 other things I should research. Just go write down the headline that you're going to write, and then when that time comes up, pops up on your calendar, you know, all right, simple, I just got to write a blog post. It's going to take me an hour, no problem. So put it in your calendar. I do have a really simplified version of a content strategy document. Like if you want something to get started with, it's at the end here. But it doesn't need to be elaborate. It's just something that tells you I'm going to write about this then, I'm going to write about this other topic then, and it's all aligned back to the keywords I'm trying to dominate. Okay, we're to the last part of this, instrument your website. Super easy. The only hard part about this is creating a goal in Google. If you do not do
create a goal. You're just measuring people coming in the front door. And what's really bad about that is that you find there's a lot of sources like Reddit that give you great traffic. You might get something in Dyor, get you great traffic, and then you're like, okay, how am I sales up? Nothing. So it's not bad to do that, but if you're not tying it to your business in some way, you're probably wasting a lot of time. There's also one private dashboard that I've listed. You can try it if you want. It kind of summarizes things. It's like what I hate about Google Analytics is it's so much data, it's so distributed and spread out that it's kind of unwieldy to me. That's a dashboard that may bring some of that together for you, and there's instructions on how to, if you want to do it, add it at the end. All right, so now to hopefully the exciting stuff. I'll wrap this up, but please do feel free to interject with any questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
Have you tried using Microsoft Power BI?
I haven't, but I would love to.
Check it out. It's awesome.
What would I use it for? What would be?
It's in place of Google Analytics.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sold.
But it's using Microsoft software, so therefore all the graphs, charts, everything is convertible into all Microsoft programs.
So is it pulling the data from Google Analytics?
You can, but you could do it directly as well.
All right. So
but you have to be a little bit more knowledgeable to do it directly.
Okay. Well, hopefully I'll qualify.
I bet you'll be fine.
Yeah, but I would actually.
I pulled it through Google Analytics because I was just like, I'd already got it.
One of them that we're in the process of doing is pumping our data into Azure ML, right? So
yeah.
you can really predict analytics against it.
Yeah. See, if you already have that already started.
There's an easier way to do it, and more importantly, there's somebody that Microsoft that can help me do it.
They actually have a thing on it tomorrow. I'm going to it.
All right.
4 o'clock.
We'll sync up afterwards. Everybody, what's that?
I think it's like 4 o'clock here.
4 o'clock. We'll see.
Yeah.
Friday.
I know, right? I know, right?
All right, whatever. I mean, if you actually measured event attendance, you would realize that 4 o'clock on Friday is a really, really tough time.
Yeah.
To schedule something. But it's good. You know that people will come. Okay, so for search engine optimization, the key here that you're trying to do, and I don't think is what keywords you rank for. And this is how you find out what Google, in Google Search Console, how you do it. What's interesting is that you're going to have all these ideas about killer terms that you should rank for, and then you're going to see that like no one's ever searched for that, right? You can wait for history to evolve. Your startup will be out of business, but you can also try and say, okay, what are some related keywords that I can try and start building some content around? You can do Google Analytics, but I think Google Search Console, how your website performs, is really interesting. If you've been writing any content at all, if you haven't, then you can't use it because that's all your own proprietary data, whatever, personal data. Okay, so social optimization you want to participate in, right? Because you could spend your whole day going from network to network and sharing and tweeting and posting and liking. Hey, so for us, Twitter is really effective. There's people are high-minded, thoughtful on Twitter. There's a bunch of marketers on Twitter, so that's really effective. LinkedIn is kind of effective, but it's actually not as effective as I would have thought it would be. So you have these hunches about what's going to work and what's not. So now figure out different content that you can post on it. Like one of the things I think is funny, LinkedIn lets you post articles first. LinkedIn or link to articles, right? Those are experiments that you have to conduct to see which one of those is going to generate more visibility with LinkedIn and drive more business value. My favorite though is Twitter for a couple reasons. It lets you do A/B testing like crazy. You figure out. I mean, most people only read headlines of anything anyway, so that's like all Twitter is headlines. If you use Buffer, it lets you really get great insights about what works and what doesn't. You can schedule it later. It's just a great combination of tools. All right, so the one that I would recommend starting with as far as website A/B testing is Optimizely. On this one, I think what people tend to do is they'll test whether a button should be blue or a button should be green, right? Really harmless, simple things, and it'll be like, oh, after 6 months, I found a 1% improvement with a little bit of confidence. I would recommend just totally doing something different. Like right now, I won't even tell you. You won't even know what the test is if you go to Payboard. It's a completely, borderline, I feel a little guilty because it's like, I don't know if that's a realistic value proposition. But the goal is that you want to
basically stress the system to see, hey, if I change the value proposition significantly, does it change behavior? Because if it doesn't, well, you don't need to worry about small changes if really big changes don't matter. And if you go with on one page really information dense perspective and on another page super slim, like $15 solves your problem, buy now. Like try that. Try something that's just totally crazy, because what you don't want to dander around little tiny changes until you've got something to worry about. I'd even argue that you still don't want to meander around with small changes at that point, but to each his own. And I think that's the last point there, is that you're going to fail or else you're not trying hard enough. So I think if you build that culture in, and I think, if you're your own one man or one woman show, then it's pretty easy to tell yourself that, okay, I'm going to be bold. If you're part of a team, get them bought in. We're going to try some crazy stuff, and it's going to be okay. Like some of the stuff is going to crash and burn, but that's actually how we're going to figure out what actually works for our business. So get people bought into the concept that you don't have something valuable enough yet to try and preserve. Really focus on taking chances. All right, last thing is track your progress. I think this is something that the Seattle Angel Conference is great at instilling. Be methodical, set a goal, hit a goal, set a goal, hit a goal. That's what investors are looking for. And if you start by early on doing that with your content, say, maybe you're just driving signups to start, but you can systematically predict how much growth you're going to have month over month or quarter over quarter. It's going to keep you in the habit of setting those goals and achieving them and documenting them, because that's what people want to see, is consistent growth. So with that, that is an overview of the content growth stack. Hopefully you learned something. If you have any feedback, when you get the slide, my email's there. I'd love to hear it. Something you found confusing, something you'd like to see more of, or additional tools that might work, different meetings that might be appropriate. With that, I'd like to thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Matt.
Well, we have one more question.
Oh, please.
Let's go to you.
No, I was opening for questions. Like,
Are there any other questions other than a question about whether there's questions?
Yeah.
That was the one question. Okay.
Are there questions about questions?
Are there any additional questions? Questions about questions?
Okay, well, feel free. Thank you so much to Matt Dyor for Payboard. Thank you so much also for Assad and Sean for Seattle Park Swanson and Gabriel here. Thank you so much for those who came up and introduced yourselves. And please do come back again for our meetup here weekly on Thursdays, meetup.com. If you're not signed up, sign up and leave comments there for any suggestions that you have there. Do we have a question, or is that okay? And then startuplv.com, and any other comments that you have, please talk to Alicia, talk to Sid, talk to myself, talk to Rachel. Share any of your feedback. We'll take it. We like to incorporate it. We've been growing this into a really great community here. Thank you all very much. Have a little bit of networking time.